From the earliest battles to the brutal conflicts of the 20th century, armies have needed emblems and badges to identify with, items that symbolize their loyalty and commemorate their deeds. Even in the sophisticated technology of modern warfare, ancient emblems like flags are still an important symbol for a soldier. In the British Army, these flags are known as colours. This film is about a unique military tradition, the presentation of colours to an infantry regiment. It's an occasion for pageantry and celebration. London is a city of contrasts, where traditions of the past share space with the present. On a sunny July morning in the King's Road, Chelsea, an area famous for its diversity of fashion, there's a sense of history in the making. Today, London's long martial tradition continues when His Royal Highness the Duke of York presents new colours to the capital's own regiment. Our story is about that ceremony and the preparations for this one extraordinary day in the life of the London Regiment.
It's very nice and wholesome, even though it seems very small.
Do you, Kitty?
An early breakfast heralds the start of what promises to be a very long day for the soldiers of the London Regiment, who are part of the Territorial Army, volunteer reserves, called upon in times of emergency. Formed in 1993 with the amalgamation of the London Scottish, the Queen's Regiment, the City of London Fusiliers and the London Irish Rifles, the regiment is unique as each company maintains its original identity.
Right. Come on! There's no need to get silly at this stage. Just form up into your guard. You know your position.
Preparations for the ceremony have been going on for months, and with so many dignitaries attending, nothing can be left to chance.
Less noticeable.
Put your boots down, you don't need to carry your boots. Right, dress back.
Sergeant Majors are busy making sure all last-minute details are in place.
Go. Bert, you're going the wrong way. Wipe down the chairs. Okay, because people will be sitting on them. Don't sort of leave it saying, oh, it's only a puddle, it'll be all okay. It could be one of your members of family sitting on that puddle. And if you ask Fusilier Fitzpatrick, he knows all too well about chairs that don't get wiped down. To capacity. Look to your left. Oh, look over there. Do you see that crane? That is going to have a whacking big camera on it, which is going to film every single one of you, especially B Company. Where's the bobber?
Each company of the new London Regiment can trace its origins back to 1859, when volunteers were called to defend the country from a possible French invasion. This notion of using citizen soldiers as a reserve force remained even after the threat of invasion faded. The first real test for these volunteers was during the Boer War, a brutal conflict fought in South Africa at the turn of the century. The London contingents fought alongside the regular battalions and received the Battle Honour South Africa. When the Territorial Army was created in 1908, a London regiment was raised consisting of 26 battalions, making it the largest regiment in the army. But each battalion jealously guarded its own name and identity. For instance, the London Scottish and London Irish Rifles retained their Celtic origins. The Scottish in particular had their unique hodden grey tartan given to them by Lord Elcho, the founder of the regiment, which avoided the problem of inter-clan rivalry and is still worn today. It was the pipers of the London Scottish who played the regiment up to the front line and into the history books when they became the first territorials to go into action in the First World War. On the 31st of October 1914, at Messines in Flanders, the regiment met the Germans head-on in a pitiless hand-to-hand battle. The victory was costly. 400 men, more than half the regiment, had fallen. But the London Scots had set the standard for all other territorials to follow. During 1915, the London Regiment expanded to 82 battalions, recruiting in London, Middlesex, Surrey and Kent. Troops in the front line endured terrible hardship and were under constant artillery fire. Day in, day out, men were literally blown to pieces. They ceased to exist in a single second. If there was ever a time when the Cockney spirit needed to show itself, it was now. The bravery of the London battalions became legend, and they served in all the major battles of the Great War, winning 5 Victoria Crosses. At the Battle of Loos in 1915, the London Irish displayed their own inimitable style of fighting by literally kicking their way into the history books. Sergeant Edwards, captain of the soccer team, kicked his football all the way into the enemy trenches. Few families in London were left untouched after 4 long years of war fought on a scale never seen before. If that hadn't been enough, 20 years later, the Territorial Army was mobilized again, this time for the Second World War. The Londoners served in every major campaign, gaining another Victoria Cross. On one occasion, forebears of all the present London Regiment fought side by side at the Battle of Anzio in Italy in 1944. Casualties were high, but the courage and determination shown by the Londoners made Anzio a natural choice as the regimental day of the new regiment. Memorials to the 2 World Wars stand in every corner of London, a permanent reminder of the sacrifice made by the capital's citizen soldiers. This memory and the spirit of the past are embodied in the colours being presented today, and for the London Regiment, preparations must be just right.
Guaranteeable to go forward too early or too late. The Almighty has control of time.
It doesn't matter if they go forward too early, it's if as long as they go forward before you.
As far as the parade concerned, we've done all we can at this stage. We've done all the preparations. We had a good dress rehearsal yesterday. The only thing that could go wrong is the commanding officer forgetting his words, in which case it'll only be my fault.
It's obviously a very important occasion because now it will really bond, it should bond every single company together now. I mean, they're bonding really well now, they're gelling well. And it's not easy when you've kept 4 cap badges and they've got their old traditions and you're trying to mould, which is a new regiment as such. But with the presentation of the colours, that will really draw them all together.
Of course, the Queen is always asked, she has the option to present colours to any regiment in the British Army. So the the formal submission goes to the palace, and we keep our fingers crossed. Sadly, she was busy on this occasion, and we were pointed towards the Duke of York, and that, of course, fits very well because, of course, he's Colonel of the Royal Irish, one of our parent regiments.
Within about 4 days, they've achieved a phenomenal amount. So, no, today will be a good day. No, I can't see anything going wrong at all.
Thank you.
Morning.
How do you do? Lovely to meet you.
As families, friends, and hundreds of guests assemble, that curious British fondness for distinctive headgear becomes evident.
There's lots of nice hats around.
Led by its ceremonial pioneers, the regiment marches on parade to the stirring Scottish melody with 100 pipers. The Guards are formed by the Queen's Regiment and the City of London Fusiliers. To the same tune, the massed pipes and drums of the London Scottish and London Irish Rifles announce the arrival of the Celtic contingent. The Duke of York's headquarters is a perfect setting for a ceremony by the Territorial Army. The historic site was originally founded by King George III as a military orphanage and named after his second son, Frederick, Duke of York. In 1892, it became a military school, and 20 years later, in 1912, started its association with the Territorial Army, which has lasted to this day. As the regiment awaits the arrival of the principal guest, the present Duke of York, Prince Andrew, the combined bands give a musical display. There are nearly 100 musicians on parade today, providing a unique spectacle of colour and tradition. should be noted that drummers and pipers are considered soldiers first and musicians second. And as members of the Territorial Army, they're required to undertake military training with the rest of the battalion. Today, the London Regiment is a General Reserve battalion, ready to take its place alongside the regular army and to serve wherever the national interest may require. TA soldiers train hard and are tested in every type of environment. Many fought in the Gulf War, and training for any similar conflicts in the future is taken very seriously. Probably the biggest test for the Territorials has been in Bosnia, where volunteers from the London Regiment have served, and their contribution is seen as an important part of Britain's peacekeeping commitment. Despite the heavy London traffic, the royal car arrives on time. And the Duke of York is met by the Lord Lieutenant of London and the Honorary Colonel of the regiment, who in turn introduces the royal guest to the 4 deputy honorary colonels, each representing one of the rifle companies. Another unique feature of the London Regiment.
City of London Fusiliers. We love meditation and campus. Oh, right. What are you doing there? I just finished designing rigging and stuff for the rig, and I'm now working on that.
General Sir Robert Corbett on the Colonel.
London, I see you. Good. Well, all going very well, thank you very much. It's doing very fast.
After these formalities, the Duke of York, dressed in the dark green uniform of the Royal Irish Regiment, of which he is Colonel-in-Chief, is escorted onto the parade ground. A royal salute is given as the royal standard unfurls, announcing the start of today's ceremony. During the inspection, Prince Andrew will stop and talk with the soldiers. Each guard is recognised by its own distinctive uniform and, of course, headdress. The London Scottish wear the Glengarry, whilst the Queen's Regiment wears the traditional blue peaked cap. A blueberry with a red and white hackle is proudly worn by the Fusiliers. And the London Irish wear the traditional green corbeen of the Irish regiments, with a green hackle for the ranks and a blue one for officers and pipers. The pipes and drums of both the London Scottish and London Irish play at many important events throughout the year. Pipe majors of the London Scottish have the additional honour of being appointed personal piper to the Queen Mother, the regiment's honorary colonel. As the massed bands troop in slow time to the traditional tune, the Skyboat Song, the colour and splendour of the uniforms are seen at their best. Scarlet has always been a traditional colour of the British Army and stands out vividly against the green grass. Another distinctive colour is the saffron kilt worn by the London Irish pipers and favoured by all Irish regiments. The bass drummer wears an apron of leopard skin, to protect his uniform from the drum, a custom inherited from units who served in India. Drummers have always played an important part in battalion life, and on active service would be positioned next to the colours in the centre of a square, so the orders of the commanding officer could be conveyed through drum beats.
At the hole! England! Home! Quick! March!
In today's ceremony, the drums will serve another purpose. As the regiment forms a hollow square, the drummers pile their drums in the centre. This procedure derives from the days when soldiers would gather together for religious services and the drums were used as an altar. As with most infantry regiments, there are two colours on parade: the Queen's Colour, which is based on the Union flag, and the Regimental Colour. After being uncased, the colours are carried by the regimental quartermaster and laid across the drums. The colours, which have always held a strong religious significance, are then consecrated by the military clergy and the Lord Bishop of London.
Rest on those who shall follow the colours. Now about to be committed to thy trust. Give them courage, and may their courage ever rest upon their sure confidence in thee. May they show self-control in the hour of success, patience in time of adversity.
The Duke of York presents the colours to the regiment by giving them to the ensigns, two junior officers specially selected for the honour. Each colour is saluted in turn as a sign of respect.
The world is a different place from the old certainties of the Cold War. Those certainties have been replaced by a more complicated and perhaps a more volatile world order. This occasion serves as a timely reminder of the importance of maintaining our reserve forces.
At the end of the Duke of York's short address to the regiment, he's accorded a traditional soldier's salute. The drummers collect their drums from the pile and, led by the drum major, resplendent in his bearskin, return to the massed bands. The four guards and the ceremonial pioneers reform to the quick march, All the Blue Bonnets Are Over the Border. Because colours were carried into battle and used as a rallying point, they were securely held in the centre of the battalion, protected by the colour sergeants. The colours were the heart of the battalion, and if captured, signalled its defeat. It was very important for soldiers to recognise their own regiment's colours. and the custom of trooping the colours past the ranks began so that every man could cast his eye upon them, and this tradition is adhered to even today. The importance attached to the colours is demonstrated when the colour party slow marches to the centre of the regiment while the band plays the national anthem. The regiment now reforms as the mass bands move to the centre of the parade ground in preparation for the march past the Duke of York. The manoeuvre is completed to the distinctive sound of the fifes and drums playing the traditional Hazelmere. The march past is led by the ceremonial pioneers who wear their white buckskin aprons and gauntlets and carry their traditional axes, a reminder of the days before good roads when the pioneers would prepare the way for a regiment on the march. As each guard passes the saluting dais, the music will change to their company march, beginning with Highland Laddie for the London Scottish. Soldiers of the Queen is the appropriately named march of the Queen's Regiment. Very traditional British Grenadiers is played for the City of London Fusiliers. The pipes strike up Gary Owen for the London Irish Rifles. The regiment advances in review order, and the colours are lowered for the national anthem, a tribute accorded only in the presence of royalty. The ceremony draws to a close, and the colours are carried off to the regimental march, the London's Return. A fitting tune for the old comrades of the regiment to return and demonstrate their loyalty. Many served during and just after World War II, some in regiments now sadly gone, such as the Queen's West Surreys, the East Surreys, Queen's Own Royal West Kents and the Middlesex, all part of the Greater London Territorial family. Each contingent has been warmly received by the 2,000 spectators as they file on parade. The London Regiment has had a long, colourful past, and it would seem, after today, a bright future.